Your objects in Illustrator can easily be copied using the traditional copy and paste, or there's some great drag and drop options to make quick copies, duplicates, and even some placing features. So let's explore what we could do here with Illustrator. Well, my favorite way of copying something is to actually do a drag and drop. So here's this line here. And when I hover over it, you can see my arrow changes. If I hold down Alt, I get this double arrow and I can drag, and it's going to automatically make a copy of that object. I can do the same thing with the multiple items. That option, hold down Alt, and I can drag and make copies of those items. You can also use that with the nudge command. So normally you use the arrow keys to nudge things up, left and right, or the shift to nudge things. But if you add the Alt, it's going to make copies of them. And sometimes what I'll do with the Alt is I'll just keep nudging it down a lot. And when I'm finished, I've got quite a few of those objects all put together there. You can see that's set that up. But it's a nice way of creating a quick copy to do something like a shadow effect. So there's Alt, and I'll just now, without the Alt, just nudge it over. And I've created something like a shadow effect or kind of an off-center effect in here. Now you still have, when you click on object, you still have the traditional copy or cut, and then you can paste that object. So if I do copy, copies it to the clipboard. And if we do a regular paste, Control V or Edit Paste, it always pastes it in a different place. So just expect that whenever you paste something, it's not going to go where you think it's going to go. It's sort of in a different option, and it can actually vary depending on where you're looking, what artboards you have active. So if I change my zoom a little bit and let's paste it, sometimes I'll get, well, there you go. Sometimes you get different spots. However, if you take a closer look at the edit menu, there are some other options for paste. There's paste in front, paste in back, paste in place. And these are essentially the same thing, but the paste in front is going to put the paste in front of the stacking order, and the paste in back is going to be in back of the stacking order, and then the paste in place just puts in the same location, but perhaps in a different stacking order. So if I select this object and I make sure it's copied, and I do my edit, paste in back, then it automatically creates another object of it in the back of it, which again can be really handy when I'm trying to create a shadow effect. So let's take this object, copy it, edit, paste in back, just do a quick down arrow and switch it to, let's say, a black color, and it created something like a shadow effect. You get the idea here. But a lot of times I do want something to be in the same location. Now if I were to select this same object here, it's still copied, and I'm going to switch to my artboard. So now I'm on artboard 2, and when I choose object, or excuse me, here we go, edit rather, and I go to paste in place, it pastes it in the same place relative to the new artboard of where it was. And so that's a really handy way of positioning things in a specific position. Now when we did this is all based on a layer setting here where paste remembers layers. And so when I'm pasting in here, even though I'm pasting it, it's actually going to the layer that I chose. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. You can see that there's these red handles around it. It tells me that it's in this layer. Go ahead and delete that. It's still copied. I'll just do it one more time. I'll copy it. And I'm going to click on an object right here that's in a different layer. And when I paste, it's remembering the layer that it was from, right? Even though I have switched, I can still choose a different artboard, but it's remembering this layer. Now if I come back to my layers panel, I uncheck this box. Okay. And this time I'm going to use my paste in place like I did before. You can see how it's actually pasting in place, but it's actually pasting it in place with the in the layer that was chosen as well, and so it's not necessarily remembering the original layer. You do have an option in here too. You go to your edit, paste in all artboards, and where you could see that is if I copy something that's only on one artboard and I paste it on all artboards, I can see it in both versions. There's actually a duplicate of here because I pasted on top of the other one and right here. So again, another way of making some replications. I'm going to go ahead and open a new document. And for this document, I'm going to open up a web-based document. Just use the defaults in here. And another way to duplicate objects is to simply drag and drop them into other settings. So if I take this target here, and I'm going to go up to the top where it says Untitled, and you can see that plus sign, just bring it back down, and I've made this a copy. It actually duplicated it into the next version, which I think is really handy. And I can also come over here to File, Place, and Place is a way that you can bring in objects outside of Illustrator. That actually could be Illustrator objects, but it's a great way to bring outside objects. For example, I have a logo, and I want to place this logo in here. So let's use this one for more active fashion. And it actually is a Illustrator logo, but you can see there's different options that it could have been. Place that in. And there's a duplicate of that object inside of Illustrator now for working with. You can also just use your traditional copy and paste, copy that object, click in here, and either do paste or paste in front or what have you. I'll just do my regular paste. And so that's another way of bringing that in, but that does show up on the clipboard. I'm going to close this object. I will choose to, yes, save that. And I'm going to put it in my file, and I'm just going to call this Copies. Go ahead and OK that one. And I'm going to close this one without saving it. And then let's watch what happens when we close Illustrator as well. Sometimes what happens when you work with Illustrator, especially when you're doing a lot of this copy and paste, you'll see this option for Clear Clipboard. And that's because Illustrator, especially with the 64-bit, is maintaining a lot of the data in there. But of course, I'm going to choose the Clear Clipboard. I don't need that information. And then I'm able to exit the program. But now you can see there's lots of ways to copy and paste information, or simply Alt-drag it to get duplicates of your artwork for creating your special events.